Make it to the top, turn lava land. Always had dreams. Now I got the tech with a beam. Okay. Throw this up for a second. I'm back. I think I got some solutions. Some things we're going to attempt to de-turkeyfy the lad here. I got some more fabric because I don't think what I had left was going to be enough. And yeah. So before I get on the shop vans, let's redo our okay. Stickers. Yeah, I was writing. So I put some thought into possible solutions, and what I really came down to was that we do have to jump back and we have to do some more foam to form the form, and then we'll move back to drafting deer drapery. So a little bit of the exact same from yesterday, but I think I've learned some lessons. I also bought myself a better pair of scissors, so that should be a lot. Well, hopefully that will be a little bit easier for us. That's going to be a good place there. Probably not going to end up using these again because I think this whole outfit, maybe we might be able to save the arms, like these parts right here, but I think the legs need to be redone. I think the lower half needs to be done. I definitely think the top half needs to be redone, and yeah. So we're going to do some foam forming, as we've already done, which means I have to, unfortunately, to the ire of my fingers, I have to bust back out the hot glue gun. But, you know, life and times, right? We work with what we got. What I'm thinking, and it will be better once I can actually declothe the boy here. These are going inside for washing. Whew. Unfortunately, or fortunately, or however you want to take it, options are yours, of course. The frustration hasn't really died down from last night. I'm still pretty miffed at, you know, aspects of this portion of the project right now. It's definitely my weaker of skills. I have not done a lot of clothing, seamstressy stuff seamster stuff, however you want to describe the act of sewing, or even drafting, or yeah. So it's definitely putting me into a state of frustration. The fact that it came up looking like a turkey didn't help, because in some ways I should have just been able to laugh that off and then see, oh, we just need to do more forming. I didn't, though. I was in a state of frustration. The scissors were pissing me off. The fact that the concept was not flowing from the mind to reality was causing me a bit of, stewing for sure. Mosquito, I do not want to swoosh you, but if you get right on my ankle again, you will become splatted, friend. I'm trying to give everyone here a chance in this small little shop so that we do not destroy each other, but you are not making it easy. So hopefully I can find the groove once again. We can get this reformed. We can get rid of the turkey leg kind of aspect. And I really do think this idea that kind of popped into the mind, I think it will really fix that aspect of the chopper puppet here. I don't know why I keep feeling like this is necessary, but we've been doing it and it's been done, so we're going to keep on keeping with it. Tweet out the link. To Tony Chopper. Day 10. Day 10. That is amazing. 10 days, and this is where we're at. I can be somewhat proud of it. Foam to... we'll just do day 10. Bac Step. And then we'll throw all of the fun hashtags on there. Which I don't even know if these work, man. I don't know if these work. One, I don't know if... Because initially people were really, really adamant. They were like, chopper. Like, that's what people were really worried about. And that was maybe a few weeks after the release of... What's it called? The live action. What if I just do Netflix? There's too many different Netflix. We'll just do those three. Yeah, it felt like everyone was really adamant and very on the idea of Chopper. They were all worried about Chopper. They were all very fixated on what was going to be done. And then for some reason or the other, it seems that attention has kind of faltered in some ways. Not faltered, it just doesn't seem to be as prevalent, or maybe it felt prevalent because I was very much in the camp of what is going to be done with this very vital character to the Straw Hat crew. As with everyone else, I was pondering, I was wondering, I was a little bit concerned that, I don't know, like, maybe they aren't going to do it right. Maybe they are going to blow their budget on a CGI thing. Of course, now I think there's been a resurgence of an interview with the prosthetics lead, Simon? I can't remember his name exactly. And I should, because that's probably the cat that really is going to have a lot of say in how the character itself looks, whether or not it ends up being a puppet or a lad in prosthetics. Either or, I believe that makeup lead is going to be very pivotal and very prominent in the choices of it. So I probably should remember dude's name. And while I say that, I thought, why not look it up? Let's give the cat his flowers, dude. He did and I should also state that I've continued now watching the live action when I'm giving myself some moment of breather. One Piece. Let's just do Chopper. Because this was one of the more recent news was that this cat had an interview. Jaco Sinman. Jaco Sinman is the head of the prosthetics department for the show. And what I was saying is that I was watching the show again. I was really letting myself enjoy it instead of just heavily focusing on the project here. And what was kind of being said by him is that, goodness me, I'm all over the place. I was watching the show. I saw how the fishmen were done. I like how the fishmen were done. I'm very, very in the camp that I think they did great on the fishmen. We can go back and forth on stature and scale of them, but again, I think he did a knockout job with that. With Mary, I thought was really well done. I don't know the name of the rat pirate that Arlong is, I guess, in payment or in cahoots with, I guess is a good term. But the prosthetics, like even though subtle on him, is very good. Scar work has been very good, and I assume he is the gentleman that is in charge of all of that as well. Let's depin. And so I'm really excited about that stuff. I'm glad that that is happening the way it is. But what really led to this whole mind, watch me meander down my own mind path here, was that it has been revealed that he is excited because they are going to be taking a similar fashion, or at least that's what the interview was alluding to, is that they were heading in a similar pathway, is what the interview says about the fishmen, and he was excited to start designing. Now, part of me got really, really amped when he said excited to start, because in my mind it was like, well, if they haven't already started, it means, again, there's still opportunity. But there was also another kind of hinge to that, in that I believe the initial interview that people were bringing back up was one that was quite a ways away. Like, it was quite a ways away, quite a way in the past. Like, it had already been done, I think, even before. Maybe I was reading it wrong. I don't know. That's besides the point. We know that at least the prosthetics lead head is adamant that he wants Chopper to have that real kind of nature to him. I don't know if we're going to need these legs, because if we do this right, we shouldn't need these legs, but we still might be able to cut off our top cuff and then just use the lower portion. So I'm not going to depin those just yet. Okay, that's off, and now let's get our diaper off. So we know that Chopper is going to be, semi-prosthesis, so that's good. Oh, I remember what really got me onto this tangent. It was because I was talking about my hashtags that I was throwing on there. Because when I click on the hashtag for Tony Chopper, it's me for the most part. Like, there's a few fun posts that people are putting. Like, they drew a nice chopper. You got a cute girl in a chopper cosplay. Like, all these kind of things. But if you hit the hashtag Tony Chopper, it's me, man. Like, I'm the cat that has been on this. And I feel kind of proud for that. But it's also kind of worrying because in my mind, that also means that people have just allowed the conclusion of how this is going to turn out to be Detective Pikachu. That's what they assumed, and now that it's been released that that Jaco Sandman, I don't know how you pronounce the last name. I don't know how you pronounce his first name. The head prosthetic lead wants to do prosthetics, then that kind of removes Dr. Pikachu as the actual like mainstay, perhaps. It doesn't mean that his other forms aren't also in the, I guess, chopping block, if you will, for the potential. Are we all still affixed in here? That seems pretty affixed. That seems pretty affixed. That's doing good. Okay, at least those are all nice and similarly situated. This one might be popping out. I think do that. Do we have more of those screws? Yeah, I think I will screw this. Yeah, but like, so I don't know if people are actually as focused, or maybe Cat's attentions are easily shifted, and that's always the worry with a project. Not just like this, I shouldn't say like a project like this, but a project like the live action One Piece, is that it's only been out for a month, and it doesn't seem, or at least to me, and again, I'm a cat that has been hyper focused on this one particular issue. So for me, it feels like people have kind of drifted off to something else, and that's just the attentions of, the current state of the world, I guess. It's not a bad thing, per se. I'd much rather it be that people were clamoring for it, and I guess they were. Like, everyone was on their pins and needles about when would we get the second season. And even as a dude that only had watched the 3 episodes that I had watched, I was still waiting for the second season. I was like, please give us the announcement. But also there is the added confliction, if you will, about there's the added confliction of the writers' strikes, which good for them, for the writers getting hopefully getting what they wanted. But also the conjunction of the actor strikes as well. And so got the second season, but we didn't get an announcement of when. We don't know how long. Well, okay, no, we know how long. It's been said 12 to 18 months is what they were saying, which that seems so fast, man. That seems so fast. And again, fast scares me. Fast makes me think that they're going too fast. Fast makes me think they're going too fast. And of course, again, I'm hyper-focused on the chopper aspect, and so in my mind, the way, and no one's asking my opinion on the way that I would separate out these episodes, but I would almost make it so that either you give all of the credence to the entering of the Grand Line, to the... And I think I keep saying the Millennium Dragons are in that area, but I'm unsure. But you give credence to the Giants. You really help give credence to the Giants. You really help give credence to the introduction of Baroque works. You do the log town part right. You bring Smoker in, and you really make him that good push antagonist, and maybe they won't. Maybe because of the way that they have utilized Garp so early in the series, they don't need to use Smoker as the push to make Luffy and the Straw Hats to continue to move forward. But if you did all that credence, Baroque works, Log Town, Smoker, why can't I remember the name of the Laboon? Is that the name of the whale? Laboon? I think that's right. You give credence to the whale because that's such a fun part. That's such a nice little moment that then comes back later. I love that. It also really kind of it integrates the course of travel for that of Gold Roger's, I believe, Gold Roger's crew, and in parallel, Luffy's crew. It's very, very nifty, that. And then you give credence to the dragons. I mean, if the Millennial Dragons is where I think they are in that beginning section. Again, I can't remember particularly. But you give credence to them if they're there. You don't have to. I think it was kind of a filler episode, if I remember correctly, but it also kind of introduces a fantastical element to the world. It's a real good world building episode. You give credence to Baroque works. I think you give credence to Baroque works and Baroque work agents. Like, they kind of, and I hope it's not going to be the only, like, they kind of got it out of the way in the beginning with the actual showing of, was it Mr. 7 that Zoro killed, or one of the Baroque work agents with a number? I think it was Mr. 7. And so they kind of introduced Baroque works in a sense, and I hope it is not a cop-out introduction. Like, oh, we introduced Baroque works there so we don't have to go through the whole situation of the town that is not really a town. It's more just a Baroque work agent area. I really hope they do that part really, really well, because not only does that introduce the Baroque work agents, the structure of the Baroque work agents, but it also introduces us to Vivi. And the introduction to Vivi is very important because you gotta have Vivi to have a need to go to Alabasta. And so I would do a lot of credence to that. I would do, if possible, like, I would love to see them give the Giants the credit they're due. And I did remember the name of the arc where the fight between Mr. 3, the candlestick guy, and I wish I could remember his female counterpart agent, the painter. Because that's a real good fight. That's a real good fight. It's another of those fights that really tests all of the Straw Hat crew to use and utilize their particular aspects to help out the situation. So you do Little Garden, you give a lot of credence to Little Garden, and the way that I would end it is I would almost end it leaving Little Garden. We have this win for the Straw Hats. Like, a good win for the Straw Hats is a great way to end it. But then you have Sick Nami. you end on a win, but then you end on a, oh shoot, Nami is sick. And what that does is then that opens up Drum Island and Alabasta for more potential, because you could do Drum Island. I would love to see a 4-for-4 split if they're going to continue on the 8 episodes, because I think it would be cool to do a 4-episode Drum Island and then a 4-episode Alabasta, but that's almost not giving enough credence to Alabasta, because Alabasta is more important to the show. To me, I feel like if you gave Drum Island a real run for its money, what that introduces, you introduce Chopper, very important to the show, very important to me as a person that is kind of adamant and obsessed with the character right now. You are also able to introduce this idea of a corrupt ruling class in the world. And what I mean by that is Wapol. You not only have the idea that the world government does not reach everywhere, or does not have the ability to reach everywhere, or is unwilling to reach everywhere if it does not benefit them in some kind of way. And Wapol is a great version of this, because with the physicians, with the whole ban on doctors, it really highlights the authoritarian nature that is the blues of many hues. Like the that's not how it's, the many directional blues. Each one has their own kind of aspect to them where you're like, God, these aren't the greatest places in the world, for the most part. Okay, so I actually want to take a second. I ended up actually buying brand new scissors to cut fabric with, so that's going to be a grand thing. But back onto what I was saying. So you have Wapol that introduces a very authoritarian kind of nature. It also introduces the idea that you have people that serve these authoritarian kind of pirate leaders or pirates that have decided to take over. It helps bring more into line how certain places feel on pirates, why certain places feel pirates are a bad thing, or why pirates aren't something that have really made way in there. And of course, like, all this time you're trying to get Nami to feel better, like you're trying to cure Nami, and that's a good ticking time clock. You introduce Chopper, that's great. You introduce, like, I like Dr. Kureha, I like Dr. Heerlook. Great backstory for Chopper. You can't discount that as it is going to be a phenomenal episode. However they do Chopper, it's going to be a phenomenal episode watching Chopper's backstory in live action. And so there's a lot on Drum Island I think they could really chew into if they allow themselves to, or if they had the ability to have the episode arc. But it's unfortunate is not really the greatest way to describe it, I guess. It's a little, what's a good term? Unfortunate is not the way I want to say it. Because it is buttressed up so closely with Alabasta, I have a feeling that they would, and let's say they do it the way that they want to do it now, like they want to get to like, let's say with this new second season, they just want to get to Alabasta. That's all they really want to do. They want to get through Drum Island, they want to get through Little Garden, they want to get across the Grand Line. So you're doing 2 episodes for each of those arcs. Maybe you give Drum Island 3 episodes to complete its whole entire thing. You have the first episode being getting there, figuring things out. You have the whole, well, I'm going to take Nami up the mountain, but in fact, Dr. Kureha is already down the mountain. You have that fun aspect. You get to introduce the bunnies. You get to introduce the walking bear. If they leave out the walking bear, I think the community should rage. I really do. There's no reason to leave out the walking bear. So you do that in the first episode. The second episode, you are able to establish Chopper's backstory. Third episode, you do Wapple Fight. That's 3 episodes for Drum Island. You do... Let's count this out. 1 episode for Logtown and Smoker. 1 episode for Laboon and the Grand Line. You do 1 episode for Baroque Works Island. I don't know what the name of the island is, but the island where you find Vivi. You do... So that's 3 episodes there. Let's say you do 2 episodes for Little Garden and Nami getting sick. Then you do 3 episodes. Oh, that puts us right at 8. Damn. That might mean that they have to cut Little Garden or something down, which means there are 5 episodes that are constantly shifting. Oh, God, that's going so fast. Because in my mind, then you would have to then do Drum Island in 2 so that you can get to Alabasta in 1. Or... if they do it, if they work it right, you defeat Wapple on the 8th episode, you have Chopper enter the crew on the 8th episode, you leave Drum Island on the 8th episode, you point to Alabasta on the 8th episode. That feels like cramming so much into one single season. I hope they don't do it that way. Like, you know, they have to do it the way that they have to do it, of course, but... oh, God, I would much rather see it done. I'm a sucker for allowing it to really go. And I was hoping, and again, that kind of goes back to the aspect of, are people still as geared up for the live action series as they were? Or was the second... the second season announcement, was that enough to release the pressure valve for most? And now that pressure valve has been released, everyone's just kind of like, oh, well, we'll just wait until the second season comes out, and then that will be it. I don't know. I feel like the show, to succeed in the way that I would love to see it succeed, again, I would love to see it go far, man. I would love to see this thing really start to reach. Like, if we could do Eni's Lobby and Impel Down, Eni's Lobby, whew, oh my goodness. Like, if we could get Luffy's backstory, could you imagine if we get Luffy and Ace's backstory together? That would be so beautiful, man. What a fun backstory that is. But that backstory in and of itself is already a, goodness me, almost like a 8. You might be able to do, like, give it real credence in 4 episodes. Maybe 4 hour-long episodes to establish Luffy and Ace's backstory, because you got to establish Luffy and Ace's backstory to make the Eni's Lobby a true... And then I might be getting Eni's Lobby and Impel Down mixed out. I think Impel Down is the prison, if I remember correctly. And I hope they do Impel Down right. I hope they do that prison right, because not only is that a... Luffy has to get out. Luffy has to get out. He has to save Ace. And again, it's that fun thing, kind of like with the Dr. Kureha and Luffy heading up and Dr. Kureha being down. It's always this constant thing where Luffy is almost moving in the exact opposite direction of where he needed to be in a certain moment. But you have to have all of that. You can't cheapen any of that. I heard. How funny is that? That's so funny. So my dad's taken off, and my cat was in the house somewhere. She was, and we know that. But there's an issue with the door that attaches the house to the garage, and that it's not as secure as we would like to see it. And so we're like, I hope she didn't get in there. So we're looking around for her, and she's just sitting underneath a bookshelf, minding her own business, kind of looking at us like, what are you guys looking for? Silly girl. Do we need to go that high up with it? And so what I was saying, I was talking about, I guess, why I want to see the show go certain places, because there's so much fun character work as things progress, and if you do certain aspects of the story right now, it means that when you do certain aspects of the story later, it makes it so that it works. I was using and I'm gonna check to make sure that I'm not calling I think it's Impel Down is the name. No, I don't want to look at Impel Down Buggy. Yeah, so Ennie's Lobby is the headquarters. Ennie's Lobby is the fight for Ace. Impel Down is the prison arc. And, it is like, I have many, many favorite arcs in the anime. Of course, I love Drum Island. You have to love Drum Island. I liked Drum Island before I started on the Chopper project, because it's a formation of the crew. It is the next crew member they get. And in some ways, we're all hoping that Vivi wants to be part of the Straw Hat. So in some ways, Vivi is a unofficial member before Chopper actually enters the crew. But Chopper's that next crew member before we get Nico Robin. Impel Down. Oh. So that's why I like Drum Island. I think Drum Island's very important for that reason. That's why I like Drum Island. That's why it's one of my favorite, One of my favorite arcs. I also really like, of course, I don't even think it's a uncommon opinion at this point, but G8 as an arc, like, there's no reason they need to do G8 as an arc. But I hope that if we get to a point where they are coming off of the Sky Island, I hope we get a G8 arc. Oh my gosh, that is such a fun, non-filler well, it's a filler, but it's not filler. And I think again, it's a common agreement between everyone that was so well crafted and well done. Like, I would love to see a 3-episode. Oh, could you imagine even if they did a 2-hour episode of G8, where first episode you have them landing in the middle of G8, so landing in the middle of G8, the crew splits up into their fun respective areas. Chopper gets to be a doctor, Chopper and Nami get to be doctors, Sanji and Luffy get to do cooking stuff, Usopp and Zoro, is it Usopp and Zoro? I can't remember the exact pairing ups. But everyone gets their fun little bit where they get to go pretend that they're not who they are. Or, I guess, Chopper's really bad at not pretending. Sanji's really bad at not pretending. But God, G8's so fun. G8's a great arc. I love G8. I really like, and I don't know the name of the arc, And again, I hope they can do it because, well, and it's the run-up to Enies Lobby, is the train stop before. It's like the train stop in the middle of the ocean for some reason. I can't remember the exact specifications. I can't remember any of the names of the characters, but I remember loving that little mini arc right there. That was such a fun miniature arc. Is that going to be good enough for us? Get the arm in there. Tack it in. I don't think we need... Could I split this in half? Could that work? If I split it in half? Yeah, I think that will work. So I'm explaining what arcs that I like. I like Drum Island. I liked Little Garden. I thought Little Garden was pretty good. I like the Giants more so than anything else. I like Millennium Dragons. I like a lot of random filler arcs, that's for sure. I like Impel Down. I like Impel Down because, again, it's Luffy having to go the wrong way to go the right way to save his brother. How cool is that? But it makes it so that one, and like, I don't know if people like him as a character. I liked him since the first time I saw him, because his introduction to the Straw Hats was not malicious. It wasn't as a Baroque work agent. It was just as another person on the sea, another devil fruit user on the sea, and the first thing that he wants to do is have fun. Like, that is his first main objective when he gets onto the Straw Hats crew after he gets rescued. But the introduction of Mr. 2, Bon Bon, bro. Oh, Bon Clay is such a funny character to me because he's such a... You don't... Like, initially, you don't give him the quote-unquote respect that he might deserve because his devil fruit power is very much a cloak and dagger espionage kind of devil fruit power. It's useful. Like, obviously it plays a big or a semi-big part in the Alabaster arc when he is actually an antagonist against the Straw Hats. But you get to introduce Bon, and you get to then have it so that it kind of reveals that, because in his fight with Sanji, there's this whole thing about soul and being an artist, and I love Bon, bro. He's such a fun character. I like him so much that when he was reintroduced in Enies Lobby, and Impel Down, and he becomes this just stalwart friend, an absolute ally to Luffy, and all because Luffy wants him to be a friend. Like, he wants him to help out. I have not watched that arc in a very long time. It was during one of those... So my last big foray into the anime, I got from the beginning all the way past the time skip, past the reunion, and then I kind of fuzz out. I can't remember where I got to after that. But I saw, oh God, Nico Robin's backstory, bro. Oh my gosh, there's so much potential. This show could do so much. And it's just because, like, again, I'm a fan, man. I'm a real fan of the show. It helped me in times where I didn't know where else to turn for certain things. It was just those times in life where sometimes you just need a little bit of escapism. And goodness me, if One Piece wasn't that for me. But the Impel Down arc, where you got Bon being a friend, and not only do you get Bon being a friend, you get Bon meeting his hero, and when I cannot remember the name of the character, and the only, like, I have only ever seen him them, her, he, whatever they are at that particular point where they decide they want to be, I always thought that the character, I should just look it up instead of just saying the character. Like, these characters stick on you, man. Like the giraffe Carpenter in the whole boat Frankie arc, that character, I always think about him because he uses a pole saw as his weapon, and I always thought that was real cool. Frankie's arc, the whole animatronic snow area arc, Perona. I think Perona is another fantastic character that unfortunately just did not know how to utilize her devil fruit power well enough to be better, and then she kind of just was more of a joke than anything else. But I love Perona. I think Perona was such a fun character, and I think her devil fruit power is really, really good. But the character of, okay, so Impel Down, we got to go to like the lowest level, right? New Makaland is what it was called, right? New Makaland. Man, this is a flawed system if you can't. Emporo Ivankov. Emparo? So, when I saw that character for the first time, right away, my theater brain was like, oh my god! Oh my god, that's Rocky Horror, bro! That's Tim Curry! That's Tim Curry right there! Obviously, you can't have Tim Curry replaying the character. Oh my god, but like I saw him and I'm like, there is no way that Oda is making a, like, I guess I didn't really associate Oda himself at this point. The show was more a show and Oda was the creator. But when I saw that and I was like, there is no way in hell that they are making a Rocky Horror Picture Show reference with Ivankov. The Queen, man. The Queen. Oh, but God, I saw that and I thought that was so cool. I thought it was even cooler that, like, it's Bon Clay's... it is the one thing that Bon Clay fangirls about, and like he's an artist, he's very much about his art, but then this character is somewhere in Impel Down, and when he realizes it, he's like, oh my god, and I guess you do got Mr. 2 there the whole time. Not Mr. 2, Bon Clay is Mr. 2. You have Mr. 3 there the whole time, but he's kind of a wet blanket for is he there? I know Buggy's there, right? Again, I haven't seen these in so long at this point. Oh, but God, what a fun arc that is. And like, it is a long arc. It's a long arc where you have, again, Luffy going the wrong way to go the right way. You have the rest of the Straw Hats booking it to Eni's lobby because they know that's where Luffy's going to be going. All while knowing he is in Impel Down, but all because they know it's Luffy. He's going to get out of Impel Down, and that's where he's going to go. That whole arc is so damn good. Oh, it's so damn good. And I want them to get to there, man. I want them to get to there. I want them to do the work to build up the characters so that when we do get to there, it's fun to have Bon Clay become an ally, become this unexpected friend to Luffy, this unexpected ally. Maybe I'm seeing it with like some real silver tinted glasses here, but God, I remember that arc being so damn good. I think the Skypiea arc is pretty good as well. It's not my favorite arc. And the reason it's not my favorite arc is it's kind of silly, because it would have been my favorite arc if Dials had been a continual utilization past G8. Because you get out of Skypedia, you then, I hope that's what it's called, Sky Island. You then drop into G8, and then you see them all kind of using these fun new tools, these new aspects, this new element to the world. And then it kind of just disappears, if I remember correctly. Like, I think there's a few more uses. I think Nami makes a few pretty good applications with dials in her time skip arc on the like where she really starts to understand her climb attack. Gosh, dude, Nico Robin's time skip arc, that's a heavy arc right there. Oh, there's so much that can be done, man. And again, it's all because I hope this show is going to get the amount of time that it deserves. If we don't get to time skip, that's fine, I guess. Like, in some ways, like where do you go with this show? Like, you can't. You can't. I think we would all want, or at least the those that want to see this show just last in the same fashion. Like, we get to delete all of those fillers that we don't like, or I don't like, or I skipped past. And it's probably an unpopular opinion, but the fillers that are in more of the traditional Japanese setting, I don't think I ever watched any of those. And again, that might be a hella sin in the whole context of being a fan of One Piece, but I could never get in to those particular arcs myself. I know people like them, though, or I assume people like them because I see art from that, or I think it's from that filler often used, because it's a great aesthetic. It looks really cool on all the characters. It's just, it never clicked my buttons like some of the other arcs had done. What else was I thinking? There's a few other filler arcs that I know I skipped. We don't have to ever deal with rehashes. That would be great. Those episodes kill me, man. Where there's like 4 minutes of a brand new bit, and the rest of the episode minus the intro is just a rehash. Oh God, those drove me crazy. Because you never know, like, if skipping one of those is going to actually skip something vital, or if you end up, just skipping nonsense. Because sometimes you do just skip nonsense, and then sometimes you end up skipping something that you really shouldn't have skipped. Oh, gosh. I just want this all to work out, man. Regardless, of course, of the results of this project, I would just love to see this show really work out in the best way possible. Because again, and I've already gone on my soapbox about this, but with the success of something like this, it gives you a in. It gives other studios a signal, if you will, that, okay, one, it is possible, it is absolutely possible to convert anime to live action and it not be an unacceptable trash fire, to be polite. It also makes it so that other mediums, other parts of other fandoms, Warhammer, everyone gets a chance now. Like, everyone has an equal footing, or a close to equal footing, in the race or in the modern era of fan of being a fan. And like, what a good time in life to be a fan for stuff, man, where cosplay is in its just absolute grandest of forms. You got people producing damn near one-to-one replicas, or even better, like a reimagined, like, this is how I would do it if I was doing it cosplays. Those are the best. Those are so cool, because that's when you really start to see people putting their all, their true and utter all into these ideas, man, because then it's not just something that I was a fan of. It's not just something that made me feel real good at a time where I might not have been feeling real good. Now it's something physical. Now it's something that I have brought forward. I can touch. Oh my gosh. I do not have the skills yet, I'll say yet, of some of these cosplayers that I watch on YouTube, but goodness me, it is awesome seeing how much the fandoms have been able to pull themselves out of the corner tables in the lunchroom, man. And I know it's been a long time past that. I'm kind of referring back to when I was in high school and it was still kind of goofy to be watching anime. It was still kind of goofy to be liking D&D. It was still like you didn't really talk about with a lot of people your Magic collection, because why are you going to talk about Magic with them? They're not going to want to play. But now it's more of a commonality. Now you kind of have the branching out of individuals where they're like, okay, I've never done this, but, you know, let's give it a shot. Let's see how it is. Let's feel it out. That's kind of what we're all hoping for with Henry Cavill's adherence, I guess, to the new Warhammer universe. Like the fact that he is a big fan himself, and now he is in some ways in cahoots with Amazon to make it good. That makes me feel nice. That makes me feel like we're not going to get cheaped out, and we're not just going to get random Space Marines thrown at us because Space Marines sell. Like, we're going to get some real guard, man. We're going to get some real, like, a good Inquisition story is going to definitely be the first one. I can't think of any other way you introduce the setting without a good Inquisition story, because you have a good Inquisition story for Warhammer. You have you hint in some ways, because you don't want to, because like if you're doing the Inquisition story, you almost want to play it as the Inquisition would. You're never going to confirm the existence of demons, but obviously there is something amiss, and it is not human, it is not Terran, and it is heresy against the Emperor. Oh, it could be so cool. It could be so cool. And it just needs to be done right. That's all. It just needs to be done right. And I hope it's going to be. I really do. I really, really do. But again, that's kind of what... And again, maybe I am applying... I'm giving bouquets right now, man. I believe that the success, or at least what I feel the success of the One Piece live action has achieved, is the kicking open of that proverbial door that, in some senses, was not as open before. And I guess to bring it all back around to what we're doing here, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of this grand new era of bringing fandom, bringing fantasy, bringing sci-fi back to the mainstay of where it was at certain points. and then having the respect that it all deserves too. Like, that's even the second best part, is that, and of course I've harped on it now a few times, like, I think shows like Farscape, shows like Firefly, man, they should never, they got the corporate axe because the corporate could not see it being as commercially viable, because it wasn't being being spoken about in the mainstream as prominently as other shows were. Like, why are we going to pour money into a Firefly-esque show when we can just do another CSI spin-off? I say that, of course, but I was a CSI Las Vegas kid when I came home from school on the bus. Come home from school on the bus. Dad's at work, mom's at work, you throw in that conventional oven, set it to 400 for 30 minutes, and then you got 3 hours. Well, 3 episodes, but basically 3 hours of CSI, Las Vegas, Grissom. Oh, good stuff. Real good stuff. And so I like CSI, but again, like, it was formulaic. Like, they knew it was going to work. They knew people were going to watch it, so let's put one in Miami. Let's put one in, what was the other one that they did? New York. And that kind of gave rise to all of the Chicago shows. And I love the Chicago shows. Like, I say that these shows are the reason that these other shows kind of got killed, but I also am really a fan of these shows as well. So it's kind of a weird one half dozen the other kind of effect here for me. But essentially, those shows, those kind of shows, were the reasons that shows like Firefly, shows like Farscape, I don't know the fate of it right now, but, and maybe it was never even intended to get a second season, but the Netflix Dark Crystal kind of reimagining. What was another one? So many great sci-fi shows that kind of started and then died because there wasn't a lot of push behind it. And that could just be that people got burned out. It happened with Westerns. I am a very big Western fan. One of my favorite shows. Like, you could put it on any episode. It could be in the middle of it. I could see the credits rolling, and you could tell me there was another one coming on right after, and I would sit and I would wait to watch Cheyenne. Oh my God. Cheyenne Brody, starring Clint Walker. I love that show. That is a Western that I cannot stop enjoying. Tales from Wells Fargo. I can't, like, another one that is just so damn good. But people got, is sick the right word? Possibly. People just got done with them. They had just been so damn prolific for so darn long that they finally said, you know what? The Western is dead. Long live the Western is dead. And then the Western syndication stopped. Hell, we didn't see Western movies really start taking prominence until the early 90s, where then you started getting some reimaginings. Then you started getting these actors that had grown up on Westerns. You started getting them being like, well, I want to make one. Oh my gosh, Tombstone? The amount of respect and care that went into making Tombstone is amazing, and the star-studded cast that it features to boot. Oh gosh. But that could just be the same thing with sci-fi. And we could be going the same way that we're going with sci-fi, or we could be going the same way that Westerns are right now, where we're not really getting brand new westerns, and the westerns that we are getting brand new have to be passion projects from those that are making it. See all the Yellowstone prequels. That was a passion project by that director or showrunner or whatever he is. Oh gosh. And then besides the few passion projects, we get remakes. We get a True Grit with, it was good though. It was good. When I say remakes, I'm not saying with any venom in my voice, because the remakes that I've seen have been really, really good. Like True Grit with Bridges and Damon and Steinfeld. Oh my God, the introduction to Haley Steinfeld, the introduction to Haley Steinfeld. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. What a way to introduce a brand new actress to the scene. Oh my gosh. And what a good film that was. I thought it was really well done. The re-up of Magnificent Seven. Oh wow, that was so damn good. Django. I don't know how much of a re-up Tarantino's Django was without obviously he had Django himself in there as kind of a nod, but I don't know if it follows the same plot line. I've seen the original Magnificent Seven. I've seen the original True Grit with John Wayne. I have not seen the original Django. And again, so I don't know if it is the same Django or if it is something different. Okay, let's get this area up here figured out. But we might be going that same fashion. We kind of already are in sci-fi. Like we're getting reimaginings of Star Trek, but we're getting pretty much copy-paste Star Wars at this point. And like it has been in the past, see Galaxy Quest with Tim Allen, Alan Rickman, Sigourney Weaver, so many other great characters. Galaxy Quest is a fantastic Star Trek movie that is not a Star Trek movie. The Orville is a fantastic Star Trek show that is not a Star Trek show. Million Ways to Die in the West is a great Western, but it isn't a Western. But it was the closest thing we're going to get. And you knew, or at least I felt, that Seth MacFarlane had a very adherence, a passion, if you will, to hitting all of those beautiful Western hallmarks without... And it's so funny, like he's doing a Mel Brooks Blazing Saddles spoof, and in the same vein where Brooks was able to make Blazing Saddles the quintessential Western movie, Million Ways to Die hit all of the quintessential Westerns without going too far. Another Western that did the same thing, Shanghai Noon, Jackie Chan, Owen Wilson. Oh, goodness me. That is comedy one perfected. And then also you have the skill, the absolute skill that is Jackie Chan as a practical stuntman, giving his best, giving his best John Wayne-esque kind of slapstick where everything is going to be used and nothing is going to be underutilized. You know, it's not as big of a cult classic as I think it should be, but goodness me, I love Wild Wild West with Will Smith. I thought that was a hell of a movie. I really think that if they wanted to, they could do a Wild Wild West TV show where you have those two agents just going to all of the goofy steampunk-esque locations that anyone could possibly think up. Ugh, days. Lovely days, man. I'm just hoping out loud, I guess. That's really all this is just a cat with a bit of passion, hoping out loud that, you know, the things that I would love to see are actually things that others would love to see, and it's not just a flash in the pan for us to then just get more crime drama, more medical drama. And I've already stated I love both crime drama and medical drama. I have no problem with let's do another version of Sherlock Holmes. There are so many good versions of let's do our version of Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if anyone's ever really equated it to the same thing, but Psych, the old TBS show, that's a great Sherlock reimagining with a fun way of approaching the character. Like, well, what if the whole time Sherlock said he was a sidekick, right? That'd be so funny. It's such a good show. It's such a damn good show. And I know people like Psych. I know that that's one of those shows that I am not on a limb saying that that is a phenomenal piece of entertainment right there. But I'm a nerd, man. I'm a fan. I love me a pair of dragons, some sword and shields kind of stuff. Give me a bit of wizardry. Throw some pointy throw some pointy airs. Throw some pointy ears on a pretty lady. You got my vote. Not very difficult, but you got my vote. That's what I want to see, man. That's what I want to see. And like, I kind of felt like we were going there. I really did feel like that was kind of the direction we were going after. Because you had Guillermo del Toro's wonderful adaptation of Hellboy. It was so good. It was so good. It had Abe Sapien, and I need to get the cat's name because I say that he is an actor I look up to, but I don't know his name. Abe Sapien. Voiced by Doug Jones. So Doug Jones is a phenomenal and expert character actor in the things that he has done. And for those 90s kids out there, my sister loved Hocus Pocus growing up. That was her movie. That was the movie that, like, you go to the video store and that's the joint you pick up. She loved Hocus Pocus, and I did not realize until later in life that Doug Jones was the decrepit Binks, basically. Binks? No. The decrepit, who was he? He was the zombie. He was the zombie with the, with his mouth sewn shut. Billy Butcherson. That was the cat's name. But yeah, dude. I think did he also play the Angel of Death in Hellboy 2 as well? I think he also played the Angel of Death and Abe Sapien in Hellboy 2. Yes, he played the Angel of Death. Oh, this man is the quintessential put me in an outfit actor. I want to be a put me in an outfit actor. I think that is such a fun way to play a character in my mind. Because, like, when you get put into an outfit, it's damn near method acting without the pitfalls of method acting. Because I get to be the character without having to, send my co-stars dead rats. I don't have to, rest in peace, Heath Ledger. I don't have to lose myself in psychosis to get there. God, what a tragedy. What an absolute tragedy. Doug Jones, man, what a cat. What a cat, dude. Abe Sapien is a fantastic character, and he's so well played. He's so well played. Flowers for all, man. Apparently that's what has to happen after a day of frustration, is I just got to come back and start giving out bouquets to damn near everything and everyone that I love, every aspect of something that I found some bit of escapism in, because that's what we're trying to achieve here, right? We're trying to achieve a bit of escapism. So for whatever goes on in the life, whether it is a continual, unfortunate, sustained thing that is hard to escape entirely, or if it is just the end of the day, man, that is what these things have been about for us. Oh my gosh. Because at some point, like, it's hard to want, at least for me, I'll speak only for myself right now. There were points in my life where all of my dreams, all of my hopes, they felt dashed, they felt impractical, they felt wholly out of reach. And the one thing that you were able to do was to delve yourself into a show and just lose yourself in how much you loved the characters, how well it was animated, how much the world was created in front of your eyes, that then you could feel as if in some ways you were just ever so in parallel to said world. Happened with One Piece for me. It happened with a few other anime off the top of my head. Shield Hero, that was a good one. I reincarnated as a slime, another real good one. Fairy Tail, I really dug on Fairy Tail. That was another real, you got to really commit yourself to anime. I think I said Log Horizon. I poured all of my stats into defense, and now I'm unbeatable, I think was the name of the title of it. It was about the girl that doesn't know the video game really, or like how the video game really is played. So her first thought is, well, I'm just going to pour all of this into defense, and then she ends up becoming the best damn character ever created, and people are saying that like she's cheating and she's just there enjoying herself, and that's literally a one-to-one analog to kind of people getting into a fandom for a first time, because you get into it and you're like, wow, this is kind of interesting, this is kind of cool, and then you really start getting into it and you're like, man, this is really interesting, this is really cool. Oh. What was another good one that I liked? Black Clover. Black Clover's fantastic. Black Clover, because of its relative newness, we'll use that phrase because I can't think of a better one right now. I guess it's more modern aspects. I could say the same thing about Fire Force. I think things like Black Clover and Fire Force are probably the next anime universes that we probably are going to be treated to, because it's very, very episodic. You got a character that you can do a lot of good merch around. Same thing with Fire Force. I think Fire Force has a real appeal in which you could have a lot of fun with practical flame and practical explosive effects, given that you have a good good cast of actors that are willing to not per se put themselves in danger, but put themselves close to the oven. Feel a little bit of heat on their skin. And maybe that's a bit too wistful in my hopes, but I think that would be real cool. Oh, there's just so much potential, man. There really is so much possible potential on the future. There are other shows, and I'm trying to rack my brain now on ones that I really enjoyed. Log Horizon's kind of fun just because of the fact that it takes a different approach to your stereotypical I got stuck in a video game kind of thing. And I find that real interesting. I love when a different approach is attempted instead of and it's not hating when I say stuff like this, but like a Sword Art Online kind of approach. Shield Hero is kind of that same approach where I got stuck in a video game, so I'm just going to play the video game the way that I want to play the video game. Where Log Horizon was, we got stuck in a video game. This is our life. This is now what we do. We have to figure out how to not only just live, but we have to figure out how to interact with the people that in some cases we just brushed off as NPCs for most of our playthrough, and now we have to treat them like actual living individuals, human beings, for lack of a better term. I could see them trying to do a fairy tale, but that might be overambitious. But we're also talking about One Piece now, and One Piece was overambitious when people started saying, well, what if they do a live action on that? Maybe someone puts the real risk to the bisque and tries to do a Dragon Ball Z again. That'd be difficult. That didn't turn out terribly well the first time. What else could they do? I'm a big fan of it, and unfortunately it is spoiled for some. I don't really care. People can have their faith beliefs, and it can be crazy, it can be cultish, and I guess there is reasons why people have some real issue with it, and I can see why. But I am a real big fan of L. Ron Hubbard's Battlefield Earth. I think that epic novel has a real... Jeez, dude. Hot glue once again. I think Battlefield Earth, I would love... I've written beginning adaptations. Like I've started to put to treatise. Treatment? I started to put to treatment what I think or what I would have done for Battlefield Earth, because I definitely think that there is some real meat in that story that unfortunately the John Travolta version just could not do. They already did. I thought it was pretty good, but the Harrison Ford, Isaiah Butterfield, I think he was the actor. Ender's Game, I thought they did a pretty good job of that. I would love to see a second stab at Christopher Paolini's Aragon series. I think that is rife with just so much potential in the... And of course, like, people will draw their comparatives in how some would say that it is too close to other other mediums of the same category. It's just I think the way that they said it is it's just Star Wars with swords and dragons. Sure. But I think the idea of dragon riders and magic and not urukai, Urgles. Oh, so much fun that could be. I think if you got the sign off from Salvatore, there's no reason that Drizzt, the Dark Elf, however his name is pronounced, there's no reason that should not be attempted to brought to some kind of live version of itself. There's so much, man. There really is so much. And if I'm being honest, I am, for most aspects of stuff, a surface level kind of fan. Like, I had my moments where these particular parts in my life needed a boost of fantastical nature, and then I would get past those parts, and then I would kind of put on the shelf watching anime because I didn't need it at that point. I didn't need a One Piece or a Fire Force or a Fairy Tail to take my mind off of the situation at hand, because the situation at hand either wasn't what it was, or I had worked myself past whatever that situation had been. And I know there are cats out there where this is just their milieu. This is where they make and break themselves. This is like, I wake up in the morning and I am a fan. I go to bed at night and I am a fan. And there are some things, and I feel like One Piece definitely is one of those things that I really, really got into, and I can really start to, as we kind of been doing, go through and start remembering those fun little aspects that really made you love the series. But again, I have my moments, and those moments pass. But there are people that this is what they do. Being a fan is what they do, and I'm glad. I think without individuals like that, we would not have, disregarding where it stands right now, if we did not have individuals like that were die-hard, die-in-the-wool kind of fandoms, or fans to their fandoms, we would not have had the Cape movies, the Cape series that we've had, the cinematic universes of Marvel and DC, again, irrespective of where they stand now, and the unfortunate fact that they probably went way too hard for way too long, and people just, as they did with the Western, as we've already kind of discussed, they just got burnt out. At a certain point, you gotta let people rest. You gotta let people rest and recuperate. Okay. We went from Fat Boy Chopper to real Fat Boy Chopper. Ow. I think the next step after all of this is hopefully dried. But again, you know, me and hot glue just can't seem to get with one another well enough. I'm going to take some string. We're going to pig wrap it like I initially wanted to do first, just so that we can tone down a little bit of the side chunk. But I'm hoping now that we have repositioned where our legs are, that will add enough, I guess, hopefully we now have enough distance between here and here that will get a nice smooth kind of nature instead of what we had with the turkey chopper. So we're going to wrap it a little bit, and then we're going to go back to trying to draft on the fur like we were doing yesterday. Okay, stick that there. Stick that in there. Going to do a little bit more there. Some more there. Because he definitely looks real pudgy right now. But again, I feel like Drum Island Alabaster Chopper, he was a bit more of a pudge. He had himself a little bit of a gut to him. And I guess, like, of course, throughout his design, you got more of the like the Peabody chopper, where he's just a circle with little stick arms. This is definitely more the teardrop shaped chopper, where his arms are actually arms and his legs are still kind of sticky, but they appear to at least have some depth with inside his shorts instead of just the little bean poles that poke out the shorts. There's that. I don't think we're going to get anything better on this, honestly. Maybe if I tuck it down and then hit it. I will master the glue gun one day. I believe it is a need. I believe it is a necessary evil. I will master it. Mark my word. Nice. Of course, it was right when I put a nice fresh dollop of glue on a place that it decides that it wants to fall down. Ooh, stood up too soon. Okay, let's let the blood flow to where it needs to be in the brine so that it doesn't seem as if everything is spinning. And then we stand. Okay. Okay. Where is a good steak stick? I need a good steak stick. There we go. Oh, that is a fat chopper. That is a fat boy chopper for sure. Still kind of has that turkey shape, but now I think we got more of that teardrop. And what I'm hoping is that the addition of twine will kind of rein in a little bit of all of that. Just ever slightly. And I've already accepted that the fabric is going to have wrinkles. There's no real getting around that. I'm not good enough in my clothing of this thing yet, clothing of the puppet yet, for that to not be an occurrence, I believe. I think that's just something that, like I said, I'm just going to have to accept. This is not the way I need to do it. Just need to go one at a time. That's probably the best way to go about doing this. We do one, then we do the next one, and then we do the next one. You know what's so funny? And I thought about it earlier today. I only now care about the casting of Chopper. I am not wish listing. I am not hope casting any actor into the roles of the characters that we will be seeing in season 2. I have been obsessed with Chopper because I want to play Chopper, because I'm building a Chopper puppet, because I think I have a cool idea for the Chopper. However, there are some very major characters that are about to be introduced that have the potential to kind of, you know, like if they screw it up, they screw it up. I think one of those is Nico Robin. That's for sure, especially because she is going to be a mainstay on the crew. She's also going to be the oldest character, I believe, on the crew for a while. I should note. So that's going to be an interesting kind of aspect. Like, how much of a woman are you going to make Robin? And is it going to be how in relation is it going to be to the rest of the Straw Hats? Is it going to feel as if they're almost now have a babysitter on the Going Merry with I don't want to call it a real old Robin, but with an older lady Robin? That doesn't sound right either. A woman more so than a mid-20s, mid-30. Well, I guess Robin is mid-30s, isn't she? Yeah, Robin's mid-30s. Nami is young 20s. Zoro is young 20s. I think Sanji is young 20s. Luffy is 17. Usopp is 17, I think, canonically. Chopper is canonically 15, but he's also a deer that can change forms. And so this idea that he is 15 in the sense that we see 15 is much, much different. So you got Nico Robin. That's a very important challenge. You got Ace. You got to cast a good Ace, man. People at least when the teaser trailer dropped initially and we got a very, very brief look at Shanks, people thought, I ain't feeling Shanks. I saw Shanks and I'm like, that looks like a Shanks for me. But we only got to see him for a brief moment, so you can only give like a small kind of feel to it. But man, Shanks in the bar, sweeping stuff up, being a good guy. That was Shanks for me, bro. Shanks stopping the sea beast, the sea king. That was Shanks, bro. They did a great job at that casting. And they got to do a good job at the casting of Ace because, and again, I want to view it as if they are going to get to Ennie's lobby and they are going to get to this epic Whitebeard pirate world government fight. It's going to be so cool if they could get there. But you have to have a good ace to make sure that your Luffy wants to get there. That needs to get there more so. Vivi. This has been an interesting one. Because people have been very... I don't know if concern's the right word. But they want to know... Like, how are you going to portray a princess? Like, this is going to be, and again, this is kind of going back to, and it's the opposite. Well, it's not really the opposite because, again, with the whole Drum Island Wapol situation, it really shows the authoritarian nature that can exist if the world government in Drum Island's context isn't there to help, or even worse so, in Alabaster's case, they are, in some ways, they're unknowingly facilitating Crocodile as a warlord of a sea, whilst also Crocodile is facilitating himself as the head of Baroque Works. But it also shows the nature of royalty that is in these places. So you have to have someone that is not only pretty, she gotta be pretty, right? Like these characters have to look good. I don't think that's diminutive. I don't believe that it is a diminutive quality to ask for a visually appealing character. We want a pretty Vivi. We want someone that when you look at her, you're like, yeah, that's a princess, man. That's a princess. I think they did really, really well with the actor that was cast for Kaya. I thought she had a very, very upper crust look to her. Of course, she has to be sick through her whole damn arc, but she's very pretty. She has a very good look to her. So that makes it really, that makes it really good. That makes it really possible that Vivi is going to be done well, I think. But that's a very important character because also she is going to be with the Straw Hats for Little Garden, for Drum Island, and then for all of the Alabasta arc up until when she realizes that she has to go and be a leader. Like, she has to go and be Princess Vivi. And that's such a great moment for her. And of course, the end of the Alabasta arc, like, we're all disappointed that Vivi isn't going to be a part of the Straw Hat crew, but in some ways it also helps build in the reality that though Luffy's adventure is his, it is not everyone's, but it's also... He has shown, or he influences how a character then reapproaches their life. I can't remember the bison's name in Drum Island. The captain of the guard that worked for Wapol, and then when Wapol just up and ran because he didn't really know what to do, he stayed behind in the village, and then in the end he's like, well, I have to I realize now that I have to stay, and this is my duty. It would be counterintuitive for me to leave in the way that or it was ridiculous for me to think that because I did something bad or because I acted in bad faith in the beginning, I now have to reduce myself or recuse myself to somewhere else in the blues of different direction. I just realized that I did not know where the front of my puppet was. How funny is that? I think he looks a little bit less like a turkey right now. But then again, I didn't see the turkey look until he was all clothed up. So that was kind of an issue. Do I need to add something underneath these arms? But kind of going back to what I was saying, Vivi has that moment. Vivi has that. I now realize that even though I would like to go on adventures, even though I think it would be fun to be a Straw Hat, she realizes then and there that she can't be. She has to be the princess, and I guess subsequent ruler, right, of Alabasta. I think that's how the arc eventually ends, is that she realizes that she has to take over where Cobra kind of failed. Maybe not failed. Maybe that he was the old ruler, she is the new ruler, and she is the one that people are going to now come to respect as the ruler of Alabasta. It's such a fun thing that happens. And I hope they keep it the same way. It'd be so weird if they just decided, because we got a really well-received, pretty actor to play Vivi and everyone likes it and she's good for marketing, well, you know what, now she's a Straw Hat, like a true Straw Hat. That'd be super weird. I hope they never do something like that. It is toasty today, folks. It is hot. It is hot. Hey, stay glued. Please, stay glued. I guess now I'm just kind of racking my brain because I've gotten myself on this tiff of remembering all of the fun parts of One Piece that I really, really, really enjoyed. I guess because I liked Perona, Zoro's time skip is kind of fun, but again, you like a character, but then you also start to dislike a character because they're not getting utilized well. Like, it was fun to see Mihawk come back, but it's also, you're like, I wish Perona would have figured out how to use her devil fruit better. I think I believe the One Piece live action has made a great decision, or I believe it is a absolute boon for them, at least at this point, with their choice of who they cast as Buggy. I think that actor is doing phenomenal, and I think it will be so fun to see how they allow Buggy to continue to evolve. Because I think that's his ultimate, kind of route, is that he's a character that gets to evolve. He's a character that gets a little bit more backstory. We get to see why he does not like Shanks, or we get to see why he believes himself to be king of the pirates. Or he should be king of the pirates, better said. And then, of course, there's all of the great vice admirals and the real cool devil fruits that we're going to eventually get to see, hopefully get to see. Oh, there's just so much, man. There really just is so much potential. And people got to stay on it, man. People got to be excited about it. People need to see what's going to happen next. And I just hope they're able to do it. And again, shameless, but I'm an actor wanting a role. I would love to be a part of it. I would really love to be a part of it. And how fun, how interesting would it be to be a part of it as Tony Chopper? What's another good arc? I guess I'm kind of stuck on G8 right now. Because, again, there's a part of me that says, why the hell would they ever do G8? There's no reason for them to spend the resource to do G8. But, God, wouldn't that be even if... Oh, God, wouldn't it be funny if... By the time... Because, it takes a long time to get to that point. If I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember what is in the middle. Because there has to be that whole arc where they go to that one island. And I think the reason they go to that... Is that right after Nico Robin's backstory? Because that's when we meet the Vice Admiral with the ice fruit power that can freeze the ocean. That's so cool! Oh my god! Oh, the Vice Admirals, man, have some of the damned coolest powers. But we're on that island. We're on an island, and there is... Someone is telling Luffy that they're... Because they find the gold, so they have to already have Nico. Well, obviously, Nico's part of the crew. But she has to be on her archaeologist kind of tip, where she's really trying to figure out some of these ancient runes, and they find gold. I think they find some kind of gold, and then they start hearing about the possibility of Skypedia. I just don't remember what happens prior to that one island. Yeah, it's such a big series. It's such an expansive series with so many different locations. Sometimes it's really hard to pin down where certain aspects are. Because one of the big aspects of Skypedia is that it is part of an ancient civilization that then helps Robin link up. It had to have been after Robin's backstory, right? Because Robin's backstory reveals the burning of the library. The library has the ancient runes, so on and so forth. But yeah, if we get all the way to that, I get the thought. I go on these small tangents. I apologize in some fashion. In other fashions, it's just kind of me talking my way through a lot of this. If we're able to get all the way there, like if people love it and keep loving it all the way up until that point, and I hope they do. I really hope they do. Maybe, just maybe, there will be enough of a budget, enough of a One Piece cinematic universe that maybe they would have the budget to do a small, because it would be a single location. And if you could find a good location that you could make G8 on, wouldn't it be fun to have just a 3-episode, a 3-hour mini series of just G8? Like you market it in a way where this is not going to have any it's literally like it literally is itself as the filler. But then you get to add all of the great character work that filler has. You get to finally humanize the Navy so that they are not constantly this almost authoritarian antagonist throughout the whole series. Like, luckily we have Kobe being the heart of the world government right now. But G8 really kind of showed that there are good aspects of the world government Navy. There are bad aspects of the world government Navy. And for the most part, it is the world government itself that is stepping on its own foot. Whether we are speaking on the warlords of the sea and the dumb shenanigans they get themselves into, or if we're talking about the fact where we have a random base in the middle of the ocean that's not really serving that much purpose, and there's really no reason to keep it functioning other than the fact that it is a well-functioning military base that is not causing problems. It is patrolling its part of the certain directional blue that it lies in, and they're human. They're people. And you then get the aspect of the bad Navy coming in and screwing up. Like, you don't get the end to G8 without the Navy, or at least a part of the Navy, kind of screwing itself out of capturing Luffy for once. The one time, or I think there's probably a few times, but one of the main times that there was the potential to capture Straw Hat Luffy and the plan was going to work, the reason it fails is the Navy itself, because it is the stupid hierarchy, the dog eat dog, I'm going to continue to step on those lower than me to get to the area that I want to get to kind of aspect of the Navy and the world government. Oh, God. It would be so fun if we got to that point and the budget had enough to produce just a 3-episode, like, quick, and it'd be so funny. Like, I don't even know how you would introduce it, because up to that point you would literally have gotten rid, I assume, of every filler episode, because they're already cutting down backstory. We already got rid of the Radish Pirates with Usopp's backstory. We didn't even really get Usopp's backstory. We didn't get Usopp's backstory, except for his mom dying. But that'd be so funny that the only filler we get is the one filler that most people agree is not filler, and it is the best world building, or at least, again, in my opinion, and I'm including others because I've seen the opinion shared in some kind of form or fashion, that it is the quintessential, like, yeah, it's filler, but I'm going to watch it every damn time. I ain't going to skip this one. It's good. You also get another character with D in their name. That's kind of cool. That just expands even farther the interesting nature of individuals that have that letter inside their name, and why this one shipwright is randomly there. It'd be a fun, like, because if they are taking a year off every time to do a brand new season, I say take even more. Do an every other year kind of thing and really put every bit of effort you possibly can into it. I think that's how it should be. But again, the attention span of the the viewer has to be in some ways addressed, because if you take too long, then they forget about the series. But if you go too short, you start to cannibalize the series. But it'd be so funny, like if they ended up going for an every other year kind of, this is the main season, how would you do it? I would do it in the sense that Skypedia, of course, would have to be the main, like, ending episodes with Enel and all of that situation coming to a head, then escaping, them sailing off the island, falling off the island, floating off the island, I guess is better said. Because that'd be, like, you wouldn't even have to cliffhanger end that one, man. You could have it so that you just have a very great silhouette of the Going Merry. It's the Going Merry at that point still, I believe. Yes, of course it is, because Frankie hasn't been introduced, and one of the reasons in G8 you meet the character with the name of Diorio? Diorio D something? Orneo? I can't remember his name exactly. You have the crew floating off into the sunset with a gigantic octopus above them. That's where the season ends for that time. You kind of already know that Mary is suffering a little bit. She's getting old, because I think from there, after G8... and I could always just look this up. I don't know why I'm trying to only go off of my memory of the series. I guess it's more fun just to kind of remember stuff. One Piece. My phone automatically, when I type in One Piece, always does One Piece Chopper, because one of those things that kind of keeps me continuing is that I start the day, I look up to see if there's been any news of Chopper or Chopper's casting or anything about Chopper, and then I kind of start to begin the day. One Piece arc in order. Okay, Shoe, Arlong Park, Logtown, Little Garden, Whiskey Peak. That is the Baroque Works Island. I did not remember that. Drum Island, Alabasta. No way. Okay, so I read that. That was weird. So the way that the One Piece wiki lists it was kind of silly. It goes Alabasta Arc, and then the next thing it says right after Alabasta is Sky Island. And I was like, no way. No way does it go right to Sky Island right away. So, yeah. So I was kind of right. So they leave. You have a bit on an island. It's called Jaya. Jaya is the arc. Because you have Nico Robin. When a ship expectedly falls from the sky, log poison is pointing up. I don't remember that part. Yeah, I don't remember that part. But that's the impetus to go to Skypedia. Skypedia, you go up. Water 7. Land and thriving episode. Interesting. I've never heard of Water 7 before. Maybe Water 7 is the name of... Huh. That's so strange. I've never heard it described like that before. God, where was I going with this? I can't remember where I started on this particular thought. I guess because I was talking about G8, and I was trying to figure out where the... yeah, so right after Skypedia and subsequently right after G8, oh, okay, so Water 7 is where you meet Frankie. That's what Water 7 is. So they don't even have Skypedia, not Skypedia, they don't even have... Okay, so Skypedia, they come down from Skypedia. Hockey, Mantra, Poseidon. With gold dials. You know what's funny is they have the picture of Foxy. So you go from Skypedia to G8 to Foxy? No way. I didn't think that was the way that it went to. That's so silly. Wow, I completely... I don't know why I thought Thriller Bark was before they met Frankie. I guess that kind of makes sense in some way. Goodness me, there's so much. There's so much. There's so much. It's such a meaty show, bro. It really is. It's why they don't even mention. That's so... Well, I guess maybe I'm looking at the maybe this is a better way to do it. Let's do it this way. I guess because I guess the whole part of this was me trying to see if we couldn't find a way to put in the Orangetown, Baratier, Arlong, Lugetown, Worship. Where are the Millennial Dragons? I cannot remember where that arc is. Goat Island, Rook Island, Jera, Filler, Jara, Skypedia, G8 arc, Secret Island, Megamech Soldier, Water 7. So you literally could do a... Like, it could almost be treated, again, to come all the way... Oh, my goodness. To come all the way back around after that weird way of going around. It was me trying to... trying to figure out a way that they could include G8 because I like G8 so much. So, again, you end the series for Skypedia with them sailing off into the sunset. You got that big octopus. It looks very good. And right before it ends, you see it deflate. And then you see the ship fall. And that's where you roll the credits. And then halfway through like making the next season, getting ready for Water 7, getting ready for Frankie, getting ready for 1,000 Days Sunny, getting ready for all of that, you could potentially, set up a good 3-hour, 3-episode, 1 hour each G8 arc, and you basically do it kind of how the series did it, where where you kind of make it so that you could completely skip G8 and nothing would be lost if you didn't watch it, because if all